Hey guys, FMZ111 here today bringing you another Warframe combo video. In this particular video I'll be using a rank 30 Vauban. Those are the current mods I am using on it. I'm also using the Plantronics Vandal, which is a really rare weapon. These are the mods I'm using for it. And you can no longer get this weapon, you can just get the standard Plantronics. Also using the Lato Vandal, again another rare weapon which you cannot obtain. Those are the mods I'm using for it. And the good old trusty frag oil, my favourite hammer in the game. Now first of all I'm going to talk about Vauban. The Vauban is the most difficult Warframe to get in the game. It's not difficult because you have to defeat a really hard boss. It's difficult because all his parts are only obtainable via either buying them with platinum or RNG. They come up on the alert. So it does take a very, very long time to get Vauban if you do want it. You just have to be around at the right time at the right place, and I highly recommend following the Warframe Alerts Twitter account. I'll have a link in the description or something. And if it comes up that a Vauban part is available, log on Warframe, do the alert, get the part, because they are so rare, they're really hard to get. Next up is the Lato Vandal, which I'll be using the majority of the early part of this video. The Lato Vandal was given to all the closed beta testers, and of course you can't get any more. You can get the standard Lato, not a great pistol, not gonna lie, and to be honest, the Lato Vandal isn't that much better. It's great, it comes with an Orokin Catalyst, so you can mod the hell out of it, but it just doesn't do too much damage. As a secondary, it is really reliable, and it's very accurate, and it does a fair amount of damage. But compared to most of the primary weapons you can get, it's not a standalone weapon. Don't rely on this too much, rely on it as a secondary, like a secondary weapon should be. This isn't some kind of dual Vipers or anything like that. I highly recommend increasing either the reload speed or magazine capacity. There is really no need to do both, as it's a really quick reload time anyway, and it has about 20 bullets in the standard magazine, I believe. The damage is kind of weak if it's unmodded, so do get the extra damage increasing mods for this. And Gunslinger is something I would highly recommend. It means you can fire much faster and do much more damage. It greatly increases the DPS. As I said, the gun is really accurate, so you can use it as a kind of secondary sniper. Obviously it doesn't do the damage of a sniper, but it's so accurate you can use it to pick off enemies at long range. And it is a really reliable secondary weapon, just don't rely on it. That really doesn't make sense. Rely on it as a secondary weapon, not as a primary weapon. That's all I can say about the Lato Vandal. Now I'm going to move on to the Plantronics Vandal, and this gun is probably the most powerful gun I have in my inventory right now. It can one-shot nearly any enemy I shoot at. I have seen this thing crit for 6k, I don't know how I did it, but this gun is literally just so powerful it makes the game too easy in most areas. You may remember in one of my earlier videos I used a Volcar, the other sniper, and it was shit. Yeah, it really put me off snipers. So when I got the Plantronics Vandal, I did not have high hopes. But this thing has 6 bullets before you need to reload, it reloads really fast, and the damage output is just unbelievable. It doesn't even have too much recoil, so it's really easy to hit enemies. But literally, the only downside I can think of with this weapon is the ammo. I know the same thing probably applies for every other sniper in the game, and of course for Paris and the Dread. But ammo does run out, and when it does run out you need a reliable secondary, which is why I've combined it with the Lato Vandal. Essentially, the Lato Vandal is like a weaker version of the Plantronics Vandal. I mean, it has the same range, it has the same reload time and huge magazine capacity, it's just weaker. And that is why I rely on the Lato Vandal to use when my Plantronics Vandal is out of ammo. That feels so harsh to the Lato Vandal, that's literally how it is. One minor utility I did actually forget to mention about the Lato Vandal is put freezing rounds on it. Because then if an enemy is running away or you're trying to protect an objective, just shoot them with Lato Vandal at long range. It means they move much slower, so if it has cryo rounds it means you can snipe enemies from a distance without missing loads of shots. Unfortunately I don't do this with the Plantronics Vandal because I sacrifice it for damage output instead, but with the Lato Vandal I highly recommend doing that. Now you may be asking, why the hell did I combine two essentially sniping weapons with a Vauban, a sort of utility class? The reason I've done this is because the Vauban has abilities which fill in the gap that the snipers create. That was really weird to say. But the snipers are really good for taking out single enemies and they do a lot of damage. The Vauban, on the other hand, is really good for CC and taking out lots of enemies. First of all, is Tesla grenades. I love these so much. Not only can you throw them whilst moving, you can throw them whilst reloading, you can just spam the hell out of them. They do a fair amount of damage and they stun any enemy they do attack. What they do is you throw them on the ground, they stay there for, I believe it's 30 seconds, and every 3 or 4 seconds they attack the nearest enemy. They have quite a decent range on them too, so if you're playing any kind of objective game, just throw loads of these down near the objective and they will just randomly attack enemies. They are really worth the energy they cost to throw down. Also, you may have seen earlier in the video, you can throw them on your allies so they become portable sort of explosives. They just run around and it zaps anything close to them. The Tesla grenades are probably, without a doubt, one of my favourite abilities in the game. The Vauban also has two abilities which I don't use in this video. Bounce, which I'm not going to lie, completely useless, not even going to get into that. And Bastille. Bastille is really good, but I'm not too keen on it. I don't use it because it feels too effective, in my opinion. Bastille, if you didn't know, it creates a huge area around you, and anything that walks into that area just levitates for about 30 seconds or so, and it can't attack you, just stand there and do damage to it. It is a really boring ability. However, the Vauban's ultimate ability, Vortex, does pretty much the same thing. It pulls everything into a single area, makes it levitate so it can't do anything, and it takes damage. This ability is so hard to use effectively, but when you do use it effectively, it is so worth it. It groups all the enemies into a single area, stops them attacking, and it does damage. What more could you hope for? As I said though, this ability is really hard to use effectively. If you throw it down in the wrong area, it doesn't get much use, and it's hard to actually do damage to the enemy, because you get thrown around more than they do. It does also have a huge energy cost, so you can't exactly spam it, and if you do use it wrong, don't expect to use it again for a while. You can also really piss off your allies too, because it does throw them around, they do get caught up with the enemies. For those of you who are wondering why I haven't exactly mentioned the frag or the hammer I'm using in this video, I did a video on it earlier where I combined it with the Volcar, the other sniper in the game, and I did talk about the hammer a lot there, so I'll have that annotated on screen now if you're interested in the Fragor. It's an amazing weapon, so I highly recommend it. Other than that, you have seen the Vauban, a great utility class in the game, not too good at early ranks, but really good at the late ranks. The Sniper Vandal, probably the most powerful weapon in the game right now, certainly one of my favourite. And the Lato Vandal, a really reliable secondary weapon that closed beta testers got given access to. Next episode, I am highly considering showing off a lot of weapons that have great DPS and fire a load of bullets really fast. I'm also tempted to show off the Banshee Warframe, which I've recently acquired, and the Kestrel, which is a boomerang weapon in the game, so let me know what you're interested in. Of course, if you have your own combos which you've been using, feel free to suggest them in the comments, and if they sound viable, I will certainly consider using them. Please leave a rating if you enjoyed the video, and of course subscribe for more. This has been me, Evans with Z111, out.